Hey guys, it's Chris here. Welcome back to the channel. Guys, we're about to go over how thrift stores get their pricing. Do they get it from YouTubers? Do they get it from e-commerce websites like eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, Amazon, or even Google Lens? If so, what percentage do they take from those items? Are they looking at listed items, or are they looking at sold items and then taking a percentage from that? Guys, we've been to 3 different states. I got a lot of information to give out. We got some Goodwill stuff, we got some Salvation Army stuff, we got some mom and pop stuff, and we got another local branch around here. I'm not allowed to say their name, but I got the information from them. Guys, stick around. This is going to be an awesome video. You guys just wait and see what I found out. You're going to be shocked. Alright guys, we're back at the barn. We've had an interesting day. We've had a lot of fun putting this video package together for y'all. What we want to talk about is how are thrift stores pricing their items? How are they? What methods are they using? Are they using Google Lens and then clicking on an Amazon or eBay or Mercari or Poshmark store from Google Lens and then looking? Are they just looking at listed prices, or are they actually going to what the item sold for and then taking a percentage from that? The first store I would like to start with is a Salvation Army in Decatur, Georgia. I've got the lady's permission to use that particular store. They would not let me film because they would have to go higher up than where they're at. And this particular lady runs the division of the store, or she's not that higher, but she is division. Her name was Rebecca Dixon. She did allow me to use her name. And the way Salvation Army in the state of Georgia works, in that little area there, they work in, so all clothes are a set price across the board in the state of Georgia. All clothes, all is what she was saying. Hard goods are then looked up. They use Google Lens or they use eBay. And when they look the item up, she did tell me that they do look at sold comps. That tells me that Salvation Army is familiar with sold comps compared to listed prices. So she did tell me they looked it up on sold comps. She told me also that they take the lowest sold comp there is, and then they take is either a quarter or a third. There's a couple of stores that did a quarter, and there's a few that did a third. So I'm going to go with third on her. I can't really remember if it was a quarter or not. So that's how Salvation Army's policy, keep in mind here, that's what their policy says to do. Right, the next store is another mom and pop store that this one is in South Carolina. I'm not allowed to mention the name of the store. I wasn't allowed to get the fella on the camera, but I will tell you this particular store, I am allowed to tell you, this particular store, all of their proceeds that they get goes towards battered women. They help women in need in dire situations. So this store, the way they price their items, and I do like this store, and there's 4 of them in the area, and this one was in South Carolina, and they had told me, the acting manager at the time told me the way they do it, they do look it up on eBay, they also look up on Amazon, and they also use Google Lens. They also know about sold comps, how the listing to sold comps work. He also told me that they trained their employees at this particular store. I'm not sure about the other ones, but at this particular store, they trained their employees to look for high dollar items. When he says high dollar items, it's mostly electronics and name brand goods. He says what they do then, when they find that, they will look the item up, Google Lens it, is pretty much what they do, is Google Lens it. And when they Google Lens it, they will, they're trained to go to eBay, #1 place to go. They're trained to go to eBay and then look at what the item sold for and then list it they'll price it for a quarter of what the price. So if it's sold for $1 on eBay, they're going to list it for 25 cents. Now, I will tell you this. I do trust what this guy said because I've seen their prices in this store, and they are, from what he was telling me, it pretty much adds up. He also told me, though, if they price it for a quarter of what it's worth and then the item sells within a week, they know the next time they get the item in to bump it up a little bit, maybe go a third of what the price is. So they will jack the price up depending how often the item sells, if it sells fast or if it sells slow. He did say that if the item sells slow, then they will lower the price the next time they get it in. So there's a fluctuation with that store. So that's with that store there. So right now, I'm going to show you a clip of a couple stores that we went to, and you can hear what they have to say. Alright guys, I'm in another one of my local thrift stores. This one's actually in Mountain City, and I'm going to talk to Daniel. He's the owner of this thrift store, and look, they got a hooker, they got a Roscoe. Remember guys, I lost my Roscoe a couple weeks ago. But we're going to talk to Daniel. Daniel, my question is, when you price items in a thrift store, do you use an e-commerce site, or do you base it off of what people are selling items when they show their videos on YouTube?
So depending on the item, we do use Google Lens to give us a better idea of what the item is.
All right.
And based off of the description, we will use eBay on certain items, but we'll always check the sell-through rate to make sure it's an item that's actually selling. And based on that information, we try to keep the percentage between 20 to 25% of actual cost.
Okay.
That way if someone is reselling, there's still a gap for them to make.
There's a gap for them to make money too, so you have a gap for you and for them.
Yes.
You pretty much covered, because that was my next question, what percentage you use. So, and you seem like you know a lot about eBay because you did bring up the sell-through rate and all that, so that's knowledgeable for my viewers here. Daniel, I greatly appreciate your time. Thank you so much, man. This is going to help my video out. Thank you and have a great day, man.
Of course, thank you.
Okay, as you see, Daniel here, Daniel runs a small thrift store in it's actually Dillard, Georgia. So Daniel is familiar with how the sell-through rate works with eBay. So they use eBay. The next store is another mom and pop store. It's a little small store in Clayton, Georgia. I believe it's, if I recall correctly, it's called Karen and Sharon. Let's see what this lady has to say there. All right, guys, we're at another one of my local thrift stores here, and I'm talking to the lady that usually runs this store. Well, actually, I think she does run the store. This is actually a lady that I've been getting my fill of bags at the end of winter time. You guys can check out one of my previous video on that one. So we're going to talk to her, and we're going to ask her the same questions we asked the last thrift store. My first question to you is when you get an item in and you go to price it, what avenue do you use, what method do you use to price that item?
We usually look up on eBay.
Okay, my next question is when you look that item up on eBay, is there a percentage that you go by to price the item off the eBay price?
No, we just do our own price and whatever we think we know that we can get in here.
Okay, all right. My final question, do you watch YouTube videos of resellers and go off of what they sell their items for?
No.
Not at all, okay.
No, all on me. It's my
So it's at your discretion. So you do look the items up on eBay and then you see, okay, this is what it sells for, so this is what I can get it for here.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So there you have another second thrift store that does look items up on eBay, and then they go off of that pricing. So as we see here, this lady does operate a little bit differently. She does look the items up. She does see what they sell for on eBay. And then she prices them. There's not a certain percentage. She just prices them accordingly to what she believes they will sell for her to move them out the door at a quick rate. So that's their policy. That's the way they work. Then we're going to cover a Goodwill store. Actually, we're going to go over two of them. I did not get a camera shot on either one of those. So the first one is in Franklin, North Carolina. This one here, I went in and I asked if I could speak to a manager. The manager, I spoke with the manager, and the manager said that in no shape or form, in no witty way, that I am allowed to film in her store. And I respected that, and I asked her, I says, can I explained to her what I was doing. And she then proceeded to tell me that she will not give any of that information out, that I would have to call their district manager, corporate, and talk to corporate to get that information, that they were not allowed to give that information out. This was in Franklin, North Carolina. So speaking on that, I can halfway see where she's coming from. But she wouldn't give me anything. She wouldn't even give me anything. So on that store, I have no idea how they're pricing. I have no idea where they're getting the information from. But the next Goodwill is in Seneca, South Carolina. I think, was it Seneca or... No, I'm sorry. The second one was in Easley, South Carolina. I spoke to a young man there. There was the manager there. And he had told me, of course, we couldn't go on camera, which is fine. I understand that. He couldn't do that because it was a corporate decision. You know, corporate has a lot to do with things. These big stores, you know, they really, you know, but he allowed me to film in his store. He did allow that, you know, my picks and pulls, my picks, he does allow that. But he couldn't go on camera to saying what we were going to talk about. So he told me, this is what he told me, that their policy, this is the same store that I get my no price goods for $4. This is the same area. So now the Goodwill in Franklin does not do that. So he told me, he says they do Google Lens products, then they go off of the prices on Google Lens. He says there are some people that will go to eBay and look it up on eBay, and then they will go off of that. Their prices, he says they try and keep it within 35% below cost on eBay. Now whether they're checking high amounts or low amounts, I don't know. But that's what he said there. Trying to think. Now that's their policy at that store. Whether or not the employees do that is a completely different situation. All these stores, guys, the main people I talk to, they have a policy set, but as we all know, that policy may not go along with what the actual employees of that store actually do. I did ask the gentleman, and this is funny, I did ask the gentleman, I says, is there any way, shape, or form that anyone could be watching YouTube and watching resellers on YouTube and getting their ideas of how to price items based off what they're selling it for on YouTube? And the guy says, as far as my knowledge, no. We as a store do not have time to watch videos on YouTube when we're trying to price items. We have so many items that come through the back door and we just don't have time. Now, this guy was not the only one that told me. The other thrift store I was telling you about in the South Carolina earlier, he told me the exact same thing. They don't have time. They get thousands of items a day. They come in big boxes, and they just come in there, and they don't have the time to go through and watch a video, you know, to see, you know. And I asked him, I says, well, what about your spare time? He says, what my employees do on their spare time, he can't help. But they do have a policy set in place. So there's that. So you have policies set in place. Whether or not the actual employees follow that policy is completely up to them. But they both agree, both Goodwills did agree that all clothing is set at a main price across their region. Each region has a different price. So that could be the reason why certain things are different in certain areas. We got one more video, I believe. I believe we got one more video. This one's in Rabun County, Georgia. So let's take a look at what Walt says. All right, guys, I'm here at another local thrift store in my town. It's a restore. So we're going to ask Walt. He's the manager of the store here, and we're going to ask him questions about how they price their items here in the store. Well, my first question is when you price your items, do you look it up on eBay or Amazon or any other e-commerce site to price your items?
If they're new, it's e-commerce site.
If they're new, it's e-commerce site. Do you watch YouTube videos for other YouTubers that go out and pick products out of yard sales or thrift stores and then resell them on eBay? Do you go off of that type of pricing there?
No.
My next question is, when you do look these items up, what percentage can you figure that you price it at according to what either the item sold or where you're looking? What percentage below that do you list your items at?
If it's new, it's 75%. If it's used, it's usually around 50%. It depends on the condition, to be totally honest.
Okay.
And then, if it's collectible or antique, it's around 50 to 60%.
Okay, great. Thank you, Walt. I appreciate it. So as we can see in this particular store here, their pricing is going to be really high. Now, I will tell you that this particular store is a restore, and most restores in the Georgia area, their proceeds going to go towards building homes for Habitat for Humanity. So their prices are going to be a little bit high, so they can cover all them costs and expenses. So that's how they do it. There is another store that we went to in the same area. The manager of the store would not allow me to film our conversation that we was going to have, but I was allowed to speak with the person that actually does the pricing for that store. So the information I got from them is they do not look items up. They don't look items up, but they price the item according to what they would buy the item for. So if something come in, say a coffee mug come in, and they looked at the coffee mug, and the lady says, "Oh, I'll pay $1 for this." She tags it $1. That's how they price their items. If there's a golf club that comes in and she says, "Oh, I'll pay $20 for this," she'll price it $20. That's how they do it there. I'm not saying their golf clubs are $20 because they're not, but at this particular store, their prices are fairly reasonable. I shop there a lot. I have bought a lot of stuff, and I have sold a lot of stuff for profit from that store. So they do have very reasonable prices. I know they have sales every so often. They normally do book sales, fill a bag for $1, or VHS sales, fill up 2 bags for $1. DVD sale, I mean, they got stuff like that. Sometimes it's 50% off, or they may have a blue tag, yellow tag, whatever, for $0.25. I mean, I've been in there and bought stuff for $0.25 on a blue tag sale, which, I mean, I really enjoy this particular store. So it's one of my favorites. Then we have another Goodwill. I don't have it on video. Well, we're going to really talk about this one. This one absolutely shocked me when I was there. So when I go into the store, I'm allowed to film when I pick my items. You know, I'm allowed to do that there. They don't say nothing about that. So I was standing looking at an item, but the man had a leather vest, a leather jacket, and he asked the employee, he asked the employee a question, and the employee says, "Oh, I need to take that with me because that's not supposed to be on the floor. That's supposed to be in an e-commerce site." And of course, the gentleman refused to give it to her. Now, I don't know the extent of the rest of the conversation. I don't know if the gentleman got to keep the coat. I do know he told her he wasn't taking it because there was already a price tag on it. So I don't know if he got to keep the coat or not. not. I wish I could have got that on camera, man, because that was a really interesting transaction there. So I waited a little while, and I spoke with a lady, and I asked her how they do their pricing, and went through the whole spiel, you know, eBay, YouTube, whatever. And what she tells me in their area, now this Goodwill is in Cornelia, Georgia. This Goodwill has a lot of complaints. The actual, the Salvation Army that I spoke of earlier in Toccoa, Georgia, one of the employees there actually told me that a lot of their customers have stopped going to that Goodwill because of how they do things there, because of pricing. My mother has actually been in a Goodwill, and she's complaining to me and says she could buy stuff cheaper at Walmart than she can this Goodwill. So there's that. The lady, the person I spoke to told me that they price things, they Google Lens it, and then that's what they price it for. Or they use another app to price items also. She would not tell me the other app name. She just wouldn't tell me what the other app was, so I have no idea there. She also said if it is a name brand item and it looks good, it looks clean, it looks really, really good, they will send it off to be put into the e-commerce store or be sent off to another Goodwill that has a boutique in it. I don't know if you guys ever seen that. There's some Goodwills out there that's got boutiques in them. And that's how this particular store does. But this particular store, with their pricing, they just price what they see when they Google Lens it. She says they don't have time to look up, you know, whether it's sold or not. We just see what people are selling it for, or what she thinks they're selling it for, because all I do is Google Lens it, boom, there it is, and they price it. If it doesn't come up on Google Lens, they price what they think it should sell for, or they don't put a price on it. But this lady said if they just look it up, just Google Lens it, and then whatever price comes up, there it is. That's it. They may go a couple of dollars less. So that's how that Goodwill prices their items. And my suspicion is that's how majority of the Goodwills price their items. So, in a nutshell, all thrift stores, Goodwills, Salvation Armies, and any other mom and pop thrift store, any other brand of thrift stores, they don't look videos up on YouTube, man. They just don't. And I brought this up because I put out a video not too long ago about YouTubers are blamed for slow eBay sales. In the comments section, people were saying that they believe that that's the reason thrift store prices have gone up. That's why I put this video out. And maybe YouTubers is not the problem. Maybe it's just Google Lens and eBay, Amazon. You know, I mean, I did get a thrift store that mentioned Amazon, you know. A thrift store does not have time to watch videos and to set pricings. If the employees go home and watch videos of resellers, great. You know, maybe that's why the good stuff's not being put out in some areas. Maybe the employees are keeping it and reselling it for themselves. Thrift stores, especially these bigger chains, have a policy. Now, whether or not their employees follow this policy, now that's a different question. That could be the whole issue there completely. The whole issue. So guys, just remember, this video was based off of information that I received from other thrift stores. I did go out and I asked. Some would not let me go on camera. Others would. And that's just is what it is. You can take this and information and do what you want to do with it. And guys, please remember, on September 12th, Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'll be on Cat and Nurse Flippers podcast. I'll leave the link below. Come in at 7 o'clock, ask your questions early, because it's a 2-hour show. Get your questions in. That's pretty much it. I don't have a Whatnot show upcoming. I may do a pop-up. If you want to sign up for Whatnot, please use the link below. You get a $10 credit. I'm not a big-time YouTuber, so I don't get the $15 credit to give to my customers. I get the $10 credit. But the YouTubers, being big time YouTuber, ain't got nothing to do with it. It's whether you're affiliated with, if you have an affiliation with Whatnot. I don't have the affiliation with Whatnot. That's why mine's only a $10 credit. My eBay store links below. Please check out my unboxing death pile videos. I've got 3 so far. I'm trying to finish out my box, the last one I did, trying to finish getting those items listed out before I bring the next box down. And that's pretty much it, guys. If you stuck around this long, please hit the subscribe button. Please hit that thumbs up button. It really helps the channel out. If you didn't like the video, hey, hit the thumbs down. I mean, I get you, man. I get you. If you have any comments, if you like to say something, if you disagree, or you like to challenge anything that was said in this video, please feel free to leave a comment below. I have no issue with that. Guys, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you come back and visit us again. Have a great day. Go Dogs.